On a cool spring morning, Elon Musk walked into the city's largest shopping mall, not to shop or relax, but to survey a new project his company was considering investing in. This was a proposed testing ground for a contactless payment technology that he was very interested in. Wearing dark sunglasses and a casual suit, Elon looked like an ordinary customer, but his sharp eyes were always attentive to every little detail. The mall was more bustling than ever. Large booths with sparkling lights and eye-catching signs attracted customers. Laughter echoed everywhere, mixed with the sound of payment machines and speakers playing music. Elon walked through each booth, occasionally stopping to observe the facilities, but his mind seemed not really attached to what was happening. As he walked past the high-end fashion sales area, his eyes suddenly stopped. In front of a large store with exquisitely displayed clothing, a boy of about 11 years old stood. He was wearing an old t-shirt and faded jeans, clearly out of place with the luxurious surroundings. The boy stood still, his eyes fixed on a delicate white shirt, neatly hung on a mannequin behind a transparent glass. Elon stopped, curious. He noticed that the boy was not like other children, who usually ran around or begged their parents to buy him a toy. Peter, as Elon later learned his name, just stood silently, his eyes shining with joy but also with a bit of sadness. Is this boy trying to buy that shirt? Elon wondered. But why doesn't he come in? At that moment, the boy lowered his head, sighed heavily, and turned away. Elon stood still, clearly feeling the disappointment in the boy's slow steps. A strange feeling rose within him, a rare empathy. Elon couldn't take his eyes off the sight. He recalled his childhood days in South Africa, when his family didn't always have the means to buy luxuries. He remembered the feeling of wanting something, but knowing that it was out of his reach. That feeling was a great motivation for him to strive to achieve, but he also understood that not everyone had the same opportunities as he had. Elon decided to walk closer to the boy. He didn't know exactly what he was going to say, but he felt the need to do something. As he approached, Elon gently called out, "Hey, kid, Ma." Peter turned around, his eyes widening as he looked at the strange man before him. He looked familiar, but Peter couldn't remember where he had seen him. "Are you looking at that shirt?" Elon asked, his voice calm but friendly. Peter nodded hesitantly, then quickly looked away, as if to hide his embarrassment. "Yeah, but I was just looking." "Ma, that shirt is nice," Elon continued, trying to make conversation. "Do you like it?" "Ma." Peter was silent for a moment, as if considering whether to answer. Finally, he admitted, "I think it would look great on my dad, but I don't have enough money to buy it." Elon felt his heart sink. Peter's words were both simple and sincere. He didn't want the shirt for himself, but for his dad, a meaningful gesture for an 11-year-old. "Your dad would love it if he got a present from you," Elon said, a gentle smile on his face. Peter's family lived in a small neighborhood on the outskirts of the city, where old houses were built close together, and public spaces were mostly narrow alleys. The house that Peter, his father, and his sister lived in was a shabby rented house at the end of an alley. The walls were grey and peeling in places, and the old corrugated iron roof creaked when it rained. But it was the place Peter called home, the place that held his precious childhood memories. Peter's father, David, was a tall, thin man in his 40s with a haggard face. He had raised Peter and his younger sister, Lily, on his own since their mother left the family 5 years ago. Raising 2 children without any support from their mother had been a challenging journey for David. However, his intense love for his children helped him overcome the difficulties. David worked as a handyman, taking on all kinds of jobs, from plumbing and electrical work to roofing. This job did not provide a stable income, and he often had to work long hours just to earn enough money to pay for rent, bills, and food for the three of them. Every morning, David left home early, carrying a worn-out toolbox and a simple lunch bag that he had prepared himself. Despite the hardship, David always tried not to let his children feel deprived of love. He often told Peter and Lily interesting stories before going to bed, and even made up simple games for the three of them to laugh about after dinner. Peter admired his father very much. To him, David was not only a father, but also a hero, someone who did everything to protect and raise the two brothers. But no matter how hard he tried, David couldn't hide his troubles completely. Peter, with the sensitivity of an 11-year-old boy, soon noticed the worries his father tried to hide. He saw his father come home every night tired, with calloused hands and dark circles under his eyes from lack of sleep. He heard his father sigh as he checked his checkbook and calculated how he would make ends meet for the coming month. Peter also noticed that his father hardly ever bought anything for himself. He always wore the same old shirts he had owned for years. Some were torn at the collar or frayed, but David would mend them and continue wearing them. For him, buying new clothes was a luxury. All the money he had went to his children, books for Peter, clothes for Lily, and the occasional small gift to make them happy. Peter didn't blame his father for these hardships. Instead, he felt sorry for his father. He understood that his father had sacrificed a lot so that he and his brother could go to school and have a roof over their heads. But sometimes, Peter wished that there was something he could do to help his father, to make him feel a little happier. One of the memories that Peter will never forget is his birthday 2 years ago. At that time, the family was facing many financial difficulties. David had to work day and night to earn enough money to buy a small birthday cake for Peter. When he brought the cake home, he said to Peter, "You deserve the best. Peter, I just want you to be happy." Seeing the tired but loving smile on his father's face, Peter cried. He promised himself that one day he would do something special to repay his father's love. Besides, Peter and Lily's life was not easy either. Lily, a 7-year-old girl, was an active and cheerful girl, but her health was not good. She often caught colds and coughs, especially in winter. This made David spend more money on medicine and health care for Lily, making the family even more difficult. Peter often helped his father take care of his sister. The boy was more mature than his age, not only knowing how to help his father clean the house, but also trying to do many chores to support him. Occasionally, Peter also went to the market near his house to help sell goods, earning a few extra coins to buy pens and notebooks for himself and his sister. However, Peter was still a boy with simple dreams. He didn't dream of expensive toys or luxurious trips. The only thing he wanted was to see his father happy, to see his family no longer have to worry about money. And one of his closest dreams was to buy his father a new shirt, a gift that he believed would please his father. He had been eyeing that shirt for a long time. Every time he passed by the shopping mall on the way to school, that white shirt was not too flashy, but to Peter, it looked perfect. It fit his father's figure well and was formal enough for him to wear on special occasions. Peter knew that to buy that shirt, he would need to save up for a long time. He had started saving money from the odd jobs he did, but it was still too little. This made him both determined and helpless, because he knew that every penny he had was precious to his family. Peter's father, despite his best efforts, couldn't help but worry about his children's future. David knew that he couldn't do this job forever. His age and years of hard work had begun to take their toll. But every time he thought about stopping, he reminded himself that his two children still needed him. David always wanted his children to have a better life. He didn't want Peter and Lily to suffer the hardships he had gone through. He encouraged Peter to study hard, always reminding him that education was the key to changing his life. But in his heart, Peter knew that what his father really needed most was not distant promises, but immediate care. That's why he couldn't stop thinking about that shirt. Every time he saw it through the window, Peter would imagine his father wearing it. He would imagine the smile on his father's face when he received the gift, and the warm feeling in his heart when he knew he had done something to repay his father. Why do you want to give him this shirt? Elon Musk's question brought Peter back to reality. Peter looked at him, his eyes suddenly sad. My father works very hard to support me and my sister. He never buys anything for himself. All his shirts are old, some are even torn. I wanted to buy him a new one, but this one is too expensive. Elon looked at Peter for a long moment, feeling the sincerity in the boy's words. He felt reminded of the simple yet profound values in life: gratitude and love of family. Have you tried to find a cheaper shirt? Elon asked, trying to find a way to help without making the boy feel sorry for himself. Peter shook his head. I think this is the best one. I want my dad to wear something nice, like the others I see here. But I only have a few coins, not enough to go in and ask for a price. Elon felt his chest tighten. He decided he couldn't let this conversation end with Peter's disappointment. What's your name? Elon asked, sitting down on the boy's level to gain intimacy. Peter, the boy replied, his eyes slowly shining with hope as he realized the man genuinely cared. Elon smiled slightly. Okay, Peter, let's go in and take a look. Maybe you can help me. Peter looked at Elon with wide eyes, surprised and slightly nervous. He wasn't used to strangers paying attention to him like this, but there was something about this man that made him feel confident. I don't want to bother you, he stammered. It's okay, Elon replied, his eyes full of encouragement. I'm curious to know what's so special about that shirt that you like so much. Peter nodded at Elon's lead, and the two of them entered the store. The clothing store was a luxurious place, with soft yellow lights and neat rows of shelves. The expensive clothes were arranged in sections, making it look more like an art gallery than a normal store. Peter led Elon to the shirt he had been staring at from outside. It was a white shirt, simple yet elegant, made of high-quality cotton. The boy pointed to it, his eyes shining with love. This is it, Peter said, his voice low but firm. Elon looked closely at the shirt, then at the price tag clearly written on a small card. He raised an eyebrow. The shirt cost $120. To him, it was a small amount, but he knew that to Peter and his family, it could be a week's salary for his father, or even more. Elon thought for a moment. Buying this shirt for Peter was probably the simplest thing he could do right now. But he didn't want to stop there. He wanted to understand more about the boy and his family's lives, to see if he could help them in a more lasting and meaningful way. Do you want to try something? Elon asked, his eyes shining with a hint of mischief. Peter tilted his head at him, curious. What is it? Ma, I think we can make today a special day for you and your dad. But first, I want to hear more about your story. Can we sit somewhere and talk? Ma. Peter hesitated, but finally nodded. There's a little coffee shop around here. I can take you there. Ma. The two of them left the store, and Peter led Elon to a simple coffee shop on the corner. It was a place he often went to with his dad and sister on special occasions. A little treat for the whole family to enjoy, even if only for a moment. They chose a small table in the corner of the cafe, and Elon ordered 2 hot chocolates. When the drinks arrived, Peter began telling Elon about his life. about his father, his hard work, and the sacrifices he made to raise them. He also told Elon about his little sister, Lily, and how the family had overcome hardships together. Elon listened intently, not interrupting the boy. In his mind, the pieces of the family puzzle gradually formed a touching picture. He found himself sympathizing with Peter, a boy with a big heart and a deep sense of gratitude, even when life had not been kind to him. When Peter finished, Elon let out a small sigh. You and your family are truly admirable. But you know, sometimes we need help from others to overcome the biggest challenges. Peter fell silent, his eyes fixed on the hot chocolate in front of him. I know, but I don't want to worry Dad. He has enough to worry about. Elon smiled. That's why I want to help. I don't just want you to get that shirt for Dad. I want your family to have a fresh start, a chance to live, without worrying too much about tomorrow. Peter looked up, his eyes surprised. What do you mean? Elon leaned forward, his voice becoming more serious. I can help your dad find a more stable job, with a better salary. I also want to make sure you and Lily can go to school without worrying about the cost. But first, let's buy that shirt together, okay? Peter looked at Elon, his heart filled with emotion. In his mind, the thought of a complete stranger being willing to help his family was unbelievable. But Elon's sincere eyes made him feel that it was all real. I don't know what to say, Peter stammered. Just say yes, Elon laughed. The two returned to the store, and this time, Elon took the shirt Peter pointed to himself. He carried it to the checkout counter, and as he held the shirt in his hands, he turned to the boy. Peter, today is not just about this shirt. This is the first step in changing your life and your families. You've done a great job of loving and caring for your father. Now it's time for your whole family to get the help you deserve. Peter smiled, his eyes glistening with tears. Thank you so much. Elon gently placed his hand on his shoulder, as if to promise that he would keep his word. And that's when everything began to change, not just for Peter, but for his entire family. After leaving the store, Peter held in his hand the bag containing the shirt he had longed for. He was filled with joy and hope, but at the same time, he couldn't help but wonder if Elon's words would actually come true. Elon took the boy home. It was an old apartment in a working-class neighborhood, with peeling walls and wooden stairs that creaked as they climbed. When Peter invited Elon in, he looked around the small, simple room where everything was neatly arranged, but could not hide its oldness. Peter's father, Jonathan, was sitting at the table, intently repairing an old clock. When he saw Peter enter with a strange man, he quickly stood up, a look of worry on his face. Peter, who is this? He asked, his voice low but warm. Peter smiled brightly. This is Uncle Elon. He helped me buy the shirt for Dad. Jonathan frowned, a little embarrassed. Shirt? But, Peter, I told you not to worry about those things. Elon walked over and held out his hand to Jonathan. Hello, I'm Elon. I met Peter at the mall and heard his story. Peter loves you very much, and he really wanted to give you a gift. Jonathan looked at Elon, then at Peter, his eyes filled with emotion. He sighed, placing his hand on his son's shoulder. Thank you, Peter, but you don't have to do that. I'm fine. Elon watched this moment, his heart filled with admiration for their deep family affection. He decided that he wouldn't stop at just giving this shirt. After a while of chatting, Elon began to learn more about the family's situation. Elon listened to Jonathan's story with sympathy. He knew it was not easy for a man to raise two children on his own in poverty. Jonathan, I really admire your efforts, but I think you deserve a better life, not just for yourself, but for Peter and Lily, Elon said, his voice firm. Jonathan frowned, clearly not used to accepting help from strangers. I appreciate your concern, but I don't want to bother anyone or take too much from anyone. I'm used to doing things on my own. Sometimes, accepting help is the best way to fulfill our responsibilities, Elon replied, his eyes filled with determination. I don't want to just help you temporarily, but to give you a chance to change your life. How about I help you find a better job? Jonathan was silent for a few seconds, as if considering the offer. He didn't want to feel dependent, but Elon's sincere gaze made him realize that the man truly wanted to help. If it's really possible, I'd be very grateful, Jonathan said, his voice trembling slightly. Elon smiled as if he had just overcome a major hurdle. Great, I'll arrange everything. You don't have to worry. In the days that followed, Elon not only kept his promise, but also did more than Jonathan and Peter could have imagined. First, he arranged for Jonathan to have an interview at a large engineering firm where he could do work related to equipment repair and maintenance. With Jonathan's long experience, he was quickly hired for a position that paid 3 times as much as his old job. Elon also hired a repair crew to upgrade the family's apartment, replacing peeling walls, fixing the electrical and plumbing system, and even adding some new appliances. When Peter and Lily returned home after a day of school, they cried tears of joy at the sight of their new, more comfortable apartment. In addition, Elon made sure that Peter and Lily would have better educational opportunities. He sponsored their tuition to a private school with a high-quality education where they could develop to their full potential. These changes not only brought joy and peace of mind to Peter's family, but also changed the way they looked at the future. Jonathan, while remaining humble, felt that he could build a more stable life for his children. Peter, with a warm heart and gratitude, learned a lesson about the power of helping and kindness. He promised himself that one day he would do the same for others, just like Elon did for his family. Elon, despite his busy work schedule, kept in touch with Peter's family. For him, this was not just a charitable act, but also a reminder that sometimes just a small act can change someone's life forever. And so, from a chance encounter at the shopping mall, a story of kindness and change was written, becoming an inspiration to all who heard about it.